Morning. My name is Damian Swenson. I'm manager of North American accounts for CDC Software and wanted to welcome all of you today to CDC Galaxy 2011. I also wanted to thank everyone and congratulate everyone for making it to this first early morning session here in Las Vegas, which means either everyone got some good sleep last night or none of you have even gone to bed. Which also explains why I saw Casey Pierce from Principal Financial crying at the craps table at 4:30 this morning. I'm kidding. It was blackjack. I'm here to introduce a couple of the general sessions as well as just give you some general information about the sessions today. A couple of housekeeping tips right now. If we can make sure just to keep all mobile devices off or at least on mute, that would be fantastic. Also, you should have all received a great Galaxy packet. If you haven't already done so, please use this to plan your days for the next several days to make sure that you are attending the correct sessions that you want to. In addition, we have several pages for notes, and wanted to also note that we are not handing out the slides today. We're trying to be eco-friendly here. So at the end of the session, we will be emailing each and every one of you links to all the slide presentations. Also, we would love to take your questions during the sessions. Please just raise your hand if you have any questions, and we'll be passing around a mic so that everyone can be heard. Also, you'll notice in the program guides that there are tear-off evaluations in the back for each sessions. If you could, please take a minute to complete those sessions, to complete those surveys after each session. We really want to make sure that we did well or how we can improve. And as I think most of you know, with implementing CRM solutions, compensation motivates behavior. So to help motivate you to fill out those session evaluation forms, we are drawing for 2 iPad 2s at the end of the session. So please stick around, please fill those out, put those in the back of the sessions each time you go to one of these sessions for the next couple days. Let's see. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, but really what can be said about this person that isn't already plastered all over his Facebook profile? Not much, but I'm going to try anyway. Jason Rushforth is responsible for North American CRM, worldwide marketing, and strategic alliances for CDC Software. Since 2000, he's played an important role in the growth of CDC Software's front office solutions. His deep industry knowledge has guided the company in the development of industry-specific tools and solutions for institutional asset management, mutual fund wholesaling, wealth management, capital markets, and commercial banking. He is a visionary expert within the CRM application space, and many of you already know him. Please welcome Jason Rushforth.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me? So first off, Damian, I've known you for a long time, and I can't believe you just read my bio from the website. I really can't. I'm like, there's a lot more to me than my Facebook profile, by the way. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much for attending Las Vegas, Nevada. Amazing place, isn't it? There's a fallacy. People say you come to Vegas to lose money. I proved them wrong last night. Anyone who sat at the blackjack table, I went up $14,000 in about an hour and a half. I did walk away with a little bit of money, $3. CDC Galaxy, it's a great event. It's been a long time, hasn't it? We've done regional events. We've had some great success with our regional events, but you know, it's been a real long time since we've got together as a group. And I want to thank you again for attending. I know we've all taken time out of our busy schedules, personal time away from our families. So thank you for all attending. This is going to be a great venue and a great event. And we've actually listened to you, and we've taken feedback from previous events. And the one thing that's really different about this event and venue is that you're going to hear from your peer group. We could stand up here and lecture you and talk to you about all the great things that we're doing, which we will do a little bit, but a lot of the content that's coming in this venue is coming from our customers. And I think that's really important because you get to learn from your peer group, you get to understand what other customers are doing and what's making them successful. And I really hope everybody can take away from this event little nuggets of information that can make their CRM deployment more successful. Why Galaxy? Does anybody know what a galaxy is? Because I had to actually go to Wikipedia to learn this, even though my 8-year-old daughter knows what a galaxy is. A galaxy is a system of hundreds of millions and billions of stars with some dust and gas, and it's brought together by one thing, a gravitational force. So what's our gravitational force? Customers. Every single person in this room is here because of their customers. And I think that that's really important. It's not, I originally was going to say, we're here because of CRM, but we're really not. We're here about customers, right? I'm here because you're my customers. You're here because you have your customers, your constellation of stars. And I think that's really important, that's why we're all here today, is to be better, to learn from each other about how to better improve our customer relations. So I brought some stars with me. See, Scott, you like that? I called you a star. Jeff Wood, Kathy Farrell, where are you? Can you stand up for a second? Jeff's at the back of the room. Kathy's over there. For the Saratoga customers in the room, we're completely devoted and dedicated to you. And we've got some great speakers to talk about what we're doing with Saratoga, where we're going with Saratoga, and all the amazing things that's taking place. Ehab, stand up please. Conrad, is Conrad in the room? Conrad Gren. These are our stars. Conrad's going to talk to you about something that, show of hands, who knows what a pivotal agent is? I'm not, Scott, I swear, I'm not stealing your thunder. So I said I wouldn't do this, but I'm going to a little bit. So pivotal agents were, let's go back a little bit in time. I was a customer of Pivotals in 96, 97. Then I became an implementation partner in the late 90s, and then I joined Pivotal in 2000. And there was this little thing called an agent. And the agent was this graphical tool, kind of like a flow chart. You can drop stuff on it, and you could build your workflow, your process. And Conrad and Ehab are going to be showing you what the next generation of agents are. And this is called the application workflow. It's fantastic. It's revolutionary. It's innovative. And it's something that's going to help every one of you in the room. Scott Monroe, stand up, Scott. You're up next. Does anybody not know Scott? Scott's the head of products for CRM. He is probably one of the brightest individuals I've met, aside from myself. Scott, we love you, and you do an amazing job, and we're all looking forward to learning from you this week, so thank you for being here. And unfortunately, Pierre's wife, Pierre Cousteau, has fallen ill, and he couldn't make it to Las Vegas. I actually think she told him not to come to Las Vegas. And so Pierre can't attend, but Pierre was going to talk about Pivotal 6 upgrades, but we're going to definitely backfill, and we got some great insight into Pivotal 6 upgrades. So by way of numbers, we're taking this very seriously, and we think it's very important. We brought over 50 employees. Where do you cut it off? Who can come? Who can't come? So I said, you know what? Let's just invite anybody. Anybody that wants to attend this event from CDC can attend the event. So we have stars from tech support. I think it's really important that you all get to know who your tech support people are. So anyone from tech support in the room, please stand up. You should look around. Obviously, we brought lots of people. There's one. But you should get to know the people that are standing up. We have research and development. Anyone in R&D, please stand up from CDC. Scott, you have to stand up again. You are in R&D. And Alan McClamrock, our CTO. Say hello, Alan. That was good. We have professional services, and most of you should know who your PSDs are, but anyone in PS, please stand up, and let's look around the room, and you should get to know these people. Adam, please stand up. I saw you sit down really fast there. Is Hector in the audience? Oh, there's Hector. Hi, Hector. You should get to know Hector. And anyone who's in sales or marketing, please. Julie. These are your account executives. We have our pre-sales team over there. You know, they cluster together. Pre-sales always stays together. No matter what event we go to, they always sit like side by side. These are the people that can give you the demonstrations. These are the people that really, they work really hard at their jobs. They know the product intimately, and they're very good at their job. So these are our CRM stars, not experts. They're our stars. And these are people that we hope you're going to interact with and mingle with during this event. AAA, Bob, you know, you're an amazing reference for us. Your success is tremendous. There are very few words that I can say to this audience today about your success. So I think you've said it best, and you've got a video here about what AAA has done with their CRM implementation. It's a short video, and by the way, we didn't produce this video, they did. We were talking about it this morning. And I'm gonna play a short video from the AAA deployment of Pivotal. Oh, wonderful. Can I have someone from tech support, please? Okay. I will maximize that. And I will play this.
AAA Western in Central New York has hundreds of associates and hundreds of thousands of members. For years, we've looked at our members like this. Each department seeing only a small and limited portion of each member. Now, every associate can see everything about every member. Today, AAA Western in Central New York is using new technology that shows associates a complete view of our members' activity. Information from every unit in our organization. Notes from phone calls, inquiries or concerns, mailings and emails. Virtually everything. All available to associates in each unit. The same view. Imagine that.
We really needed a way to look at our customers and our members and as a whole.
One of the ways that you can serve members best is to really understand who they are.
We need to be thinking ahead of what is it that they want that we could provide.
We need to provide outstanding member experiences at every touch point.
How do we have every one of those 700 associates know about those 880,000 members? We bring together a tool, an electronic tool called Member Focus.
And our software solution is called Member Focus because we want our associates to really focus on the members, on the member that you're with. So really when you pull up their profile, it's everything we know about that member.
And with the Member Focus software, all of a sudden now we have a way to build up a repository of information, a repository of interactions, so we can better understand not only members individually, but all members as a whole.
We know a lot about who you are specifically as a member. But more important, we know how other members like you have reacted in the past if we bring them some extra information they weren't planning on asking for.
Our associates are using the system. They're working more efficiently because of the system, because it's automated their process for them and made it easier.
Everything is like it's like between 2 to 3 clicks. That's what makes it flow.
So in many environments, when they implement a CRM system, you have 2 separate systems. What we've done is built our system to bring the 2 together. So it really saves the agents time.
Before, everything was paper-based, manually done, and we did not have this automated system or this tool to help us facilitate this relationship.
Today, someone calls in. We immediately document that phone call took place and what they asked about. We also have their leads form for travel, so we know that where they want to go, when they want to go, who they want to take with them, whether or not they end up purchasing. We have all of that information documented.
It also gives them reminders automatically, so they don't have to write Post-it notes or, little notes saying make this call or check on this final payment. The computer will pull it up for them.
If I happen to be sick or go on vacation, somebody else can cover for me and take care of my clients because it's there in the system. They don't have to paw through my Post-it notes and cocktail napkins.
We are creating a better member experience now, a more consistent and reliable member experience.
One of the added value advantages of this new software is that it helps us track what they like, what they're interested in.
So when a member's out on the intranet and they're looking at ads or they click on different links on the internet, we can log that. And we actually have our internet server talking to our CRM server.
We see how many people on a membership, when was the last time they called, what business they did with us, did they plan a trip, do they have anything coming up?
As that customer gets better service from you and are more happy, and they start talking about what they got out of the trip, and that generates more customers for us.
We've been around since 1900. So we've been around for 110 years. If we do things right, we'll be around for another 110 years.
We've spent now three years on this journey, and we have a commitment from at every level of the club and every associate to this program, and that's really why it works.
So having that information at their fingertips so that they can answer those types of questions really allows our associates to provide the service that they've always wanted to provide.
That's what Member Focus is providing. The tools to do a really good job.
I'm very glad that the company made this move. It was a great move.
And I just cannot wait to see what the future brings.
Member Focus, delivering exceptional experiences. Every associate, every member, every time.
Figure out how to get back to the slide deck. Oop. Bob, that video is awesome. It really is, and it really summarizes your implementation of Pivotal. And there's something very interesting. Their CEO said something. He said it's a journey. We've been on a 3-year journey, I believe is his exact words. And CRM is not an event, right? Anybody in this room who's done it successfully knows it is not an event. It's not like installing Microsoft Word where you walk in, you plop a disk into your CD-ROM and you install it and people start using Word. It is a journey. It evolves. It changes. And I was very happy to hear your president say that. And one of the ladies talked about going on vacation and looking through cocktail napkins. Bruce, my boss, actually had to go through my cocktail napkins when I was in Disney last week. Anyways, there is one person I actually forgot to talk about, and is Arash in the room? Everyone should get to know Arash. Arash is the Vice President of CRM Worldwide for CDC. I apologize, Arash, I missed you in the stars. You are a star, if I could actually see you over there. But no, Arash is somebody that every one of you should know. He has so much wisdom in his brain about CRM, successful implementations. He has interacted with many of you, but somebody that definitely is worth spending the time talking about Pivotal and about CRM with. Bob has a session coming up this week, and I think many of you should attend it. Some other customer-led sessions. God, Farm Credit, you're like this blaze of red over there with your logos. Tom Dobby. Tom's a friend of mine. We've known each other for many years. Farm Credit's like family to us. And I always take an opportunity to talk about Farm Credit when I get the chance. So I have the chance, and I will speak about you. But they have a very sophisticated implementation of Pivotal. How long have you been using it for now? 10 years. I think it was 5 years I came to your anniversary, was it? When Ernie did the presentation about, you're a Pivotal customer when. But Tom actually has some really good sound bites. I'm going to share one with you. Apparently, they did a survey to their user community, and they asked, would you rather have Pivotal CRM or Microsoft Outlook? And it was fairly unanimous that people came back and said, if you had to take one away, take away Outlook, because I could not do my job without Pivotal CRM. It's a fantastic soundbite. And it shows you the level of sophistication of the intrinsic processes that they have in the system. Tom, I wish you would tweet about that. I really do, because I think it's an amazing sound clip, and it's something that, when I hear these sound clips coming from Farm Credit, plug in the power source. And
customer management and technical support. And I can't fix it, so just customer management.
So when the PowerPoint dies, then I'll get off the stage, and Scott, you're going to have to ad-lib your screenshots. So you would see a screen here, and we'll get the tech support to come up. But Tom's going to do a session, and I encourage all of you to attend the session, as I think there's a lot of value to be learned from Farm Credit Services of America. Power bar on? See, I could fix it. All right. Hey, thank you. Michael from Cambria is going to be speaking at this event. 9 years with Saratoga. Amazing success. Where's Michael? Michael, stand up. There's Michael. And then we have Mark Williams, who I have not seen this week, but I do know Mark. I presented with him in San Francisco in November. Where is Mark? Is he in the room? So we're going to play. Career Builder is a really interesting deployment. There's a couple things about it. First off, they have my favorite commercials with the monkeys. Has anybody seen the commercials? They're partying and they're smoking with $100 bills, which I did last night at the poker table. But they have a really sophisticated layer of data integration, and they've done something that I think is interesting, which is the click-to-call within an application. But because I like the commercial so much, this is the 2011 commercial from the Super Bowl. I would like to play this for you. Oh.
Guys, can you just give me a little space here? You just parked a little close. Guys, come on, guys. I got a meeting. Never mind. These guys.
Stuck between a bad job and a hard place?
Ron, did you notice maybe you clipped me a little bit there?
CareerBuilder.com. Start building.
Ron!
Those are really funny commercials, and Mark is as funny as the commercials, so you should definitely attend his events. Tim, where's Tim from Irvine? Stand up, Tim. I found it very fascinating, and there's not a lot of things I find extremely fascinating, but this was something that I found very interesting. Tim reached out to me, first time he ever reached out to me, and I was thinking about it as I was on the flight here. And 5 years ago, 7 years ago, if you wanted to reach out to anybody in this room, what would you do? You'd either send them an email, you call them, you get your account manager to leave a message for the person to call them back. And my first interaction with Tim was through LinkedIn, which I just, it shows the way the world's changing, doesn't it? Whereas before we would send emails and telephone calls, which we all still do, but the fact that my first interaction with Tim was via a LinkedIn message saying, hey, Jason, how you doing, and would you be my friend? And I declined it, but I still appreciate him being a customer. No. But no, and Irvine Company has a really great implementation of Pivotal for many years, multiple implementations of Pivotal, and he's going to walk you through some of the processes that they've done to really take their deal times down. Ron Fasora. Ron, are you in the room? Yes. Thank you for being here. M.I. Holmes, he's going to be talking to you about how to grow your business in a down market. And a lot of people in this room, that's what we do, right? We implement CRM successfully, and we look at how we can get closer to our customers. because when you're in a down market, it's about getting closer to your customers. JCI, Johnson Controls. Diane, are you in the room? Oh, hi guys. JCI has a great implementation of Saratoga. How long has it been, 9 years? 94, wow. So 16 years. My math's really bad. You know, and JCI is going to talk about analytics, but you know, the thing I find very interesting about your implementation is that you're a Fortune 500 company, right? And their CEO gets their forecasting, and as a publicly traded company, this is very important, from Saratoga. All the forecasting comes out of the Saratoga system, so it's not an Excel spreadsheet, it's real-time, real information. Roop, where's Roop? I hope you're up, Roop, and you're here. Roop, North Shore Credit Union. It's unfortunate Fred Cook couldn't attend the event. Fred is a vivacious character. He loves CRM, he loves to talk about it. He plays the drums. He's a very interesting person. So Roop's from Vancouver, and North Shore is actually one of my all-time most interesting CRM implementations. It is. They've ingrained CRM into the entire culture of their company. I'm standing over here because the lights are blinding me. And you host your prospects and customers all the time, but they've done so many unique things with our application, from taking their customers, taking their photographs, and embedding it. So when you walk into the bank, a member is personal picture is right there. And I think they said, what, 95%, Fred tells the story this way, it could be 85, I'm not sure, but Fred says 95% of the members agreed to have their photo taken so that they could have it in their CRM system. And he always says, Jason, do you know why the 5% didn't get their photo taken? Does anybody know? I know you know, Roop. Bad hair day. Fred always tells that story. So internally at CDC, we got a very large Vancouver presence. And we have a very large Chicago presence. So I live in Toronto, Canada. I don't live in either city. I like both. But I have this pleasure of witnessing thousands of emails when the Stanley Cup playoffs start, and it's Vancouver versus Chicago. My boss, Bruce, is in the back, oh, go Hawks, and Bill Green somewhere in the room over here. And then I got the Vancouver contingent saying, say goodnight, Chicago, and they go back and forth and back and forth. So I had an idea, and I couldn't execute on the idea because it was too little, too late. We're in Las Vegas. They don't know what hockey is here. They don't. But Roop, I want to present you with two things. I do, and this is my commitment. I was going to buy you a Vancouver Canucks jersey. That's a Galaxy with 11 on the back. But instead, come on up, Roop. I'm going to buy you can pick from one of these two hats for the Canucks. The Canucks beat the Blackhawks. For those of you who don't know hockey, they beat them in round one. You can, if you notice, I have two. And I got you a banner, but this is my commitment to you that I will buy you a jersey, and I will have it delivered to your office, the Vancouver Canucks banner. This is all they had in Las Vegas. Can you believe that? And so I wanted to present them with that because my boss, who is a diehard Blackhawks fan, was, the Hawks were playing Canucks 2 years ago. It was last year. It was last year, and Tom, the Farm Credit people, were there. And Bruce presented people with a bunch of Blackhawks jerseys. So Bruce, I tried to buy you a double XL jersey last night. I couldn't get it, but I want to present this to you, Bruce. And anybody that has a camera and a Facebook account, I would like you to take a photograph of Bruce holding this up. It's killing him. You see I'm fired after this. So Bruce, I'd like you to hang this on your wall.
Thank you. Just for the record, I'm actually a Bulls fan. Who's a Vancouver basketball team?
The Grizzlies. But I will buy you a jersey, Bruce, and I will have it sent to your office if you're ever there. Steve and Julie, are you in the room? Stand up. Thank you so much for being here. So they're going to talk about customization with their Saratoga system, CBiz. Great implementation. They got a lot of amazing success to share with you. And we thank you all for being here. We got lots of sponsors. Mir 3, who's a new sponsor, who I don't have their logo up here, but anyone from Mir 3 in the room, thank you so much for being a great partner of ours. CRM Culture, Steve Roach. Where's Steve? They have a booth outside. Great, great partner of ours. They've done some really, really unique things with mobility and iPads. And you know, I look around the room and everyone's got their iPads out and they're taking notes and doing wonderful things on it. So CRM Culture's done some great work with mobility. Lansdale Group, Doug Ricks, are you in the room? Maybe they're at their booth thinking we're all going to go back. I don't know. And Sean Grant from Takara. Where's Sean? There's Sean. Takara Solutions, sorry. Great partners of ours, sponsors of the event. They got their booths outside. I encourage all of you to go and talk to them. Takara's doing some very interesting things with our Market First application and delivery of research for financial services institutions. Industry luminaries. Shane Gibson, are you in the room? Stand up. Come on. Don't be shy. Shane, he is a visionary when it comes to social media, when it comes to applicability of social media in the business world. You know, and he's got a session that is going to walk you through how you can leverage social media to help sales. And I think that's something that we all struggle with. You know, on a B2C side, it's very easy to say, okay, I make Levi's jeans and I'm going to put a Facebook fan page and we'll see how many people like Levi's and, you know, do what you will with it. But on a B2B side, social media is something that a lot of people struggle with. It's a requirement, but how far do you go with it? What do you do with it? What mandates, what rules do you put in place? You know, I think a lot of it comes down to it's your brand, it's your social presence, and it's very important. That's why Tom has agreed to start tweeting about us. And then Daniel Pink, Drive. I actually sat in the hospital with my father yesterday, and I read almost the entire book, because my dad was sleeping, of Drive. Fascinating, fascinating. Web 2.0 world, whatever you want to call it, you know, 5.0, 12.0, it doesn't matter. The whole concept of Drive is about motivation. It's about a motivation for your people. Everyone's going to get a copy of these books, by the way. But Drive is something that is extremely fascinating, and I encourage all of you to read the book because it talks about motivation and it looks at the world. I actually think Daniel Pink is brilliant, and I think he's far ahead of his time in what he talks about with regards to this. And I'm not going to give away the book, but there is something that he did with the book that I want to just show you.
I'm Liam from Tasmania. My sentence is, he was a very loyal friend.
He educated, entertained, and inspired people and found happiness and fun in the process.
She helped people know what's possible.
She never said she couldn't because she knew she could.
I am the only one going the direction I'm going.
He made videos and music to inspire people's creativity.
It's to show the world that the beauty within all women has no boundaries.
He used social media to inspire, empower, to challenge, and connect with educators around the world.
He ate tomato soup with a fork.
He became a comedian and shared his story that helped people see how pushing a little harder can make amazing things happen.
She helped kids learn to love literature and learn to love themselves.
He wrote music that affected people around the world.
I think that's pretty awesome. And throughout the week, think about what your sentence is. We have a video crew here. We've got some great marketers. I'll put this out there to anybody in the room. If you want to think of your sentence and you want to help your own personal brand and you want to record it and you want to tweet it, we'll help you with all that. We'll record it and we'll help you publish that on your own profiles. So the one thing I was asked to do was to give my sentence. And when I came up with my original sentence, I was told I couldn't say that. So I had to come up with a different sentence. For those of you who know me, you probably know what I'm referring to. But you know, when I look at my sentence, it's 100% who I am. It's what I believe in. And I will deliver my sentence right now. It's my passion is customers. The delivery for their success is CRM. I try to make it as simple as possible. And I believe that. And I'm excited and thankful to all of you for attending this event. And I have some, actually, you know what? I'm going to do something right now. And I know Julie is probably cringing with what I'm going to do. But I did promise. So I've got 4 kids, okay? I've got an 8-year-old, I've got twins that just turned 6 on the weekend, and I've got a 2-year-old boy. And so I had a kid's birthday party, which was a lot of fun, a bunch of 6-year-olds. And they told me a joke. They said, "Daddy, when you talk to the 1 million people in Los Angeles, can you tell a joke for us?" I said, "Sure." So I made the promise to my kids, so I will tell the joke, and I hope you all laugh at it, because I laughed at it. I thought it was cute. And Julie, you can laugh too if you'd like. You've heard the joke. So a snail inherits a bunch of money. And the snail goes down to the car dealership and says, "I want to buy a red sports car. And I want you to paint a big S on the side of the sports car." So the snail takes the sports car, goes back in its circle of other snails, and the one snail says to the one who bought the sports car, "I love your car, but why did you put an S on the side of it?" He said, "So people can say, 'Look at that S car go.'" So that was my children's joke, and Julie's rolling her eyes at me right now, but thank you to Bianca for telling me the joke. It was very cute. So you know, we're going to have a great week together, everyone. It's going to be a lot of learning, a lot of collaborating. And for this evening, I know that there's no official dinner plans. A couple of just housekeeping notes. At 5:15, next door in the Mount Royal room, there's a cocktail reception. But I've also made a reservation at Kamsa for 7 o'clock, and I would like all of you to come as my guest. If you have other dinner arrangements with your CAMs or your PSDs, no problem. But if anyone does not have a dinner reservation, everyone in this room is invited to it. We'd love to have you. I think it's going to be a great event and a great venue. So thank you so much to all of you for attending this event and taking the time.
Well, thank you, Jason, for introducing us to the CDC Galaxy with all the gas and dust and stars and introducing the stars. And so I think that actually means that Jason was providing the gas for our universe today. But now it's time to actually get into the CRM universe with our product team. So I know that Jason introduced him very quickly earlier, but Scott Monroe is the VP of CRM Product Management for CDC Software. responsible for understanding the CRM market, including customer needs, competitive positioning, technology assessments, and defining product strategy and positioning. He manages the product roadmap and launch of new products. Scott has been with CDC Software since 2005, all right, and he's also one of the best-dressed Canadians this side of Mount Rushforth. So, ladies and gentlemen, Scott Monroe.
Thanks, Damien. Appreciate it. Okay. Let me find my own presentation first. How about that? Well, good morning, everyone. And I'd like to build on something that Jason said just before we get started with the actual roadmap presentation. And it was about thanking you for being here. And it's important for us as product managers to have you here. We spend a lot of time talking with our customers on the phone, working through WebExes. But these sort of in-person events are a wonderful opportunity to build a much more personal relationship. And I'm a firm believer that even though we're engaged in a company relationship, a corporate relationship, a transaction, in effect, that the only way that works really effectively is if you have a really good understanding of the people you're working with. And you have a personal understanding of their situation and what they're trying to achieve. And it's really valuable for me not just to understand the numbers of your organization, but understand the people in it. And you are those people. And the same thing is true for the rest of the product managers. So again, my favorite part of my job is speaking with our customers. I don't mean broadcasting like this. I mean the opportunity to talk with you one-on-one and hear what's in your minds and help use that to affect what we're doing with our roadmap. So first of all, I want to thank you for being here and allowing us to try to do that. That's a wonderful thing for us. And probably even maybe slightly more importantly, I'd like to thank you for being our customers. You know, many of you made those choices 15 or 20 years ago. But you continue to make those choices every day, every year, when you continue to buy more software from us, purchase services from us, pay your maintenance. These are all wonderful things, because if you don't do that and you don't engage with us, I'm not up here talking about our roadmap. So I'd really like to thank you for that. It is really important to us. And I have to say that we're very fortunate because our customers are tremendously passionate. Regardless of whether you're currently a user of our iAvenue Saratoga product or our Pivotal products, there's a lot of commonality in the way our customers feel about our products and the way they work with them. They're very passionate about their use. They're true believers. And that's something great to participate in as well, being part of CDC Software. So again, thank you very much. All right. As a product manager, usually when I'm giving a presentation, I'm talking about roadmap, because people want to know about what's going to happen in the future. And I'm tremendously excited to be here today because I have lots of things to talk about, which is always a good thing. So I truly believe that 2011 will be our best year ever in terms of delivering new capabilities to our customers. We've got a lot of great new things that we've been investing in over the last few years that are now coming to fruition. And we've also got a lot of other brand new things that we are beginning to make our investments in, which will come into fruition next year. So not only will 2011 be a great year for us, I strongly believe that 2012 will be a great year for us as well, and will continue that way. Now, I hope this is good news for you, and I hope that by the end of the presentation and the end of the sessions that you also feel excited about where we're going into the future. And I also sort of deeply hope that this makes you sort of validate your decisions to invest in our company and our products. I stand in front of you today very confident that in terms of what we're doing with our products and the investments we're making and the escalation in investment from an R&D perspective we made over the last couple of years, that we have not only the strongest products in the market, but we're doing the most new things with them right now. And I hope that's good news you can bring back into your own organizations. Say, yeah, we're doing business with CDC Software not just because they're a great product for us today, but we have tremendous trust in them that they'll continue to be a great product for us in the future and continue to invest in new things that we can take advantage of. So again, I'm hoping this is really good news for you as well. Now, what I will be talking today about is our next generation product, which we call Pivotal 6. But that next generation product is equally applicable to our customers who were previously using our Pivotal 5 products. And many of those customers have made upgrades already. And also is the next generation product for our customers who are currently using our Saratoga CRM product. And just to give you a sense for sort of the generational adaptation of these products, I want to show you a slide for our Pivotal customers and also for our Saratoga customers separately. So our pivotal customers started back in the 90s with a two-tier Windows client-based product, as Jason said, using agents to define workflow. Very similarly, if I actually just skip forward a slide, our Saratoga customers began around the same time with a product called Avenue, which transformed into iAvenue, but essentially the same sort of thing. It's a two-tier client-server product. The Pivotal 5 customers made a transition to a web-based product, which introduced a three-tier model. And in a very similar way, our Saratoga customers are currently taking advantage of our thin client product, multi-tenancy, and a three-tier model again. So the backgrounds of our customers from a technology perspective are very similar, but also, again, the way in which they use our products are very similar. Our customers always tell us that what they value about our products is the flexibility to adapt it to their particular business practices. And that's what makes us unique in the industry. And that will continue to be the foundation that we invest in into the future. But our future is this next generation. Now, that next generation began with the first release of Pivotal 6 in 2008, but it continues today. And everything I'm talking about today is new capabilities we're delivering with that next generation product. We've seen our Pivotal 5 customers start adopting Pivotal 6 as of 2008 and moving into the future. And we expect that many of our Saratoga customers, when it's appropriate for them, will also make that decision. And in fact, we have a specific session after this one where Jeff Wood, who is our product manager dedicated to our Saratoga product, will talk about our current roadmap for our Saratoga product and also what it means to move to the next generation at some point in time in the future if you're choosing. And I want to say specifically just for our Saratoga customers, you should be confident that even with your current use of our Saratoga product, that we continue to invest in developing that product and maintaining that product, introducing new compatibility updates for it. So I'm not here to tell you you need to move to our next generation product today or tomorrow or next year. You should move when you're happy and ready to move. But I want you to know that there is a product out there that we're making tremendous investments in that will be there for you in the future when you want to make that move. So be happy where you are today and be happy that there's a very strong future for you as well. Now, as I said a few minutes ago, really at the root of what our customers find valuable about our products is that flexibility. And that's driven by a couple of really key issues. One is the need for you to take an out-of-the-box solution and tailor it specifically to your particular business practices. Again, that's the root of what makes us successful. And not just the ability to do it once, but to continue to do it as your business changes and to do it rapidly. That is the foundation of both of those products and is the foundation of our next generation products moving forward. So everything we do with our product is aimed at achieving these objectives identified in these bubbles around the edge here. Investing in user experience, business agility, meaning your ability to quickly respond to your business changes, integration capabilities, brand new out-of-the-box applications, and business intelligence. Everything we talk about in terms of next generation capability falls in one of these categories. Now, I was talking to Jason a couple of weeks ago, and in the course of reviewing our roadmap and strategy, I did bring up this diagram. And Jason made a point of saying to me, that diagram, I've seen you using it for a while. Can you do something like, change it, freshen it up, change the colors, whatever else it wants, and just to create some, sense of newness. And then I said, well, my response to that was, actually, no, I don't want to do that. And I specifically have left this diagram the same way, because this is a vision we've articulated for a number of years now, and I want you to be confident that we have the same consistent vision over time, and that we're actually executing on it. And it's not every year I'm coming up with a new graphic, with new objectives, with new deliverables. No, we know what we need to do. We've listened to our customers. You've told us what you want, and we're building those things. And that's good news. And in fact, everything that we're building right now is very high priority for our customers. These are things that our customers have told us for years they want to see, and we're building them and we're delivering them this year and into the next year. So it's very exciting for us. All right, so let's drill down into that a little bit. We have, the bubble diagram around the outside there in the top right-hand corner. And in each of those areas, we've identified investments we've made. And this isn't everything. It's just really the major stuff. And the color scheme on there, simple representation. The black represents things that already exist today in our next generation product. And I'm not going to talk about the black things. I'm going to focus on the things that are in red, the roadmap, what we're building right now for delivery in 2011 and 2012. And there are some very specific things on here that are critically important to our success in the future and our customer success in the future. And I'm going to drill down to a lot more detail on those. And there's a couple of ones I want to just talk about right now, because I'm not going to drill down in really strong detail later on. And they're both underneath business intelligence. The first is that we do intend to move to reporting services as our reporting structure. And if you've heard me give presentations like this before, you've probably heard me say that before. And we have done the investigation work for that. There is a bit of a hold on that right now, though, because our investigation of what reporting services was capable of doing led us to believe, or not believe, but led us to conclude that it actually wasn't capable of doing what we needed to do today. And this is feedback we provided back to Microsoft, and the specific feedback we have provided to them, they've acknowledged and said, yes, we need to make some changes. So that's going to happen still, and it's been on the roadmap for a while, but it's probably not going to happen until sometime next year, or maybe even early 2013. So it's still a ways away. Something else that's actually much more short-term, though, and I think really important to taking advantage of the data in your system, is a concept of better data visualization tools. With our products today, there's certain capabilities in the next-gen product to display records from the database, display them in a graphical format on SharePoint portals. But there is quite a bit of limitation in terms of the sophistication of those graphics and your ability to drill down into them and explore the data. So one of the needs we've identified, both from a usability perspective and a business intelligence perspective, is to provide you better tools for providing visualization of data and allowing people to explore data in the way they want. And we're doing that in two ways. One is that we have a partnership today with a company that has a strong history in data visualization tools, and we're working with them to make sure we can provide an integrated solution to you that will deliver these sort of data visualization capabilities. At the same time, we're also exploring how we can take some of the native capabilities we have today that are Microsoft-based and build on those to build out better tools for you in terms of charting and reporting capabilities. So I'm not going to talk more about those things during this presentation, but I wanted to make sure I did talk to them right now because they're the things that are on red here, and you should be aware of them and that we're investing in those things. And the rest of the presentation will focus on the other items. All right, so we have a very specific release plan for this. And we have these releases of our next-gen product, Pivotal 6, on a regular basis. So our next release is the 9th release of Pivotal 6. We have an agile development methodology, which means we have new releases of our product every 4 to 5 months. Those releases include minor functional enhancements. They include compatibility updates. They include, of course, defect fixes. But they also are the delivery vehicles for anything major and new that we've been working on. So, for example, we've been working on visual workflow for about 18 months now. We haven't delivered anything yet. This 609 release will be the first delivery of that visual workflow. So what you'll see at that point in time is a major drop of new capabilities, but delivered as part of that point release. So even though we're introducing major new capabilities, it's really easy for you to take advantage of them. It's just provided to you as part of effectively a point release. Easy to install, easy to take advantage of. And that's good news for you. So if today you're still on one of our older products, again, either Pivotal 5 or Saratoga, you should know that once you make that investment to get onto this architecture, that everything I'm talking about in terms of new capabilities will be readily and easily available to you as a simple upgrade. And that's important for you to know. And you'll note that there's a continuation of that. It's not like one big drop of visual workflow and it's done with it. No. We have a visual workflow team that we have separately staffed and hired and brought on to do this job. They will continue to work on that tool and add on new capabilities based on customer feedback. And in fact, this particular launch of visual workflow in the 609 release is really important because we're packaging it up with the 609 release to give you an opportunity to install it, try it out, play with it, and see how it works and provide us feedback so we can actually drive that feedback into the follow-on releases. So it's a great opportunity for us. In a very similar way, and I'll talk about the thin client in more detail, we have a new thin client coming out. The first release of that will be in the follow-on release, yet to be numbered or named, but it'll be in the next release. And again, the same cycle of delivery, more capabilities delivered thereafter. And lastly, something that's very exciting for next year, again, I'll talk more in details, Pivotal in the cloud. We are anticipating the first delivery of that to be in the release after that, and again, continuing that wave of delivery. And actually, wave is a good way of looking at this. It's just a big tidal wave followed by smaller ripples thereafter. But that's our investment strategy in terms of major new things. We want to be able to keep investing in the things that are important to you on a day-to-day basis, but also have the ability to invest in major new products and deliver them to you on the same platform and capabilities. So let's talk about each of those three things in a little more detail. Now, if you're using our Pivotal product today, or Pivotal 6 today, you would be familiar that workflow is defined by code. .NET code that's triggered by events of some sort. Typically, the events are things that are related to the forms or the navigation structure. So you click on one of the menu structures, you click on a field, you mouse over a field, you push the save button. That triggers an event. Code gets executed. It's out-of-the-box code, but then you may have modified it. But it requires somebody with a .NET skill set. Now, that's good because that means that you've got people that have standardized skills that you can get off the street. It's a Microsoft skill set. It's not a specialized Pivotal 6 technology. It's something you can get off the street and readily incorporate. We've got very many examples of customers of ours that have moved from Pivotal 5 to Pivotal 6 that they found the development is very effective because they can bring people in from other parts of their IT organization to do the work. So that works really well for them. In contrast to that, we have our Saratoga customers today who are not doing code-based workflow. It's what I would call configurable rules, primarily defined at the field level. So you're triggering off the fields rather than the events for the most part. And the distinction is you're not doing code at this point in time. It's rules. And rules, if you're not familiar with Saratoga, if you're one of our pivotal customers, it's more like the type of rules you would see in an Excel spreadsheet in terms of pseudocode language defining the behavior you want to see. Now, our older pivotal customers also had something conceptually similar to this. In other words, it was something that the business analyst could use. It wasn't code. It was called agents. It was a visual workflow tool. So our objective is to bring that all together. Our new visual workflow tool is meant to give our customers a choice of how they define workflow. So if code-based workflow works for you, in particular if you're doing things on the server side, we're doing a lot of data manipulation, code-based workflow may be the best. But a lot of the activities that you implement on the client side could actually be very effectively and very easily implemented by somebody who's a business analyst. Somebody who does not know how to code, but really understands your business and understands the underlying data model of your business. So this completely changes the game in terms of who does the work and how they define that. This is just a screenshot of what that looks like right now. So you have this concept of an action toolbox on the left-hand side. You'll note that it looks a lot like the rest of the Pivotal client. Ability to select forms or data or lists, drag and drop those onto the design surface, connect them, and define the detailed workflow inside each of those boxes. That can be a multi-level workflow, meaning you can drill down into one of those objects and open up another workflow. We know based on our experience with customers using agents that it's possible to define the entire workflow of the system visually. We've taken that vision for customers who are using agents and we translated that into this new visual workflow capability, which we believe will be a very, very effective tool for our existing customers using Pivotal 6, for customers who are using Pivotal 5 today still that are using agents and are looking for something like this as an upgrade path, and also for our Saratoga customers who for the most part aren't using people with a coding skill set. They're working with a business analyst type skill set. We believe this will be a very effective tool for helping our customers in each of those areas move forward to our next generation product. This technology, by the way, is just yet another example of the nature of the relationship we have with Microsoft. We have a tremendously strong relationship with Microsoft on the technology side of the house. So you'll be familiar with the fact that, of course, we use Windows Server, Windows Client. You know, we've embedded Outlook, we've embedded SharePoint, we've embedded a component of Visual Studio to do form design. Well, now we're using the workflow foundation capabilities of the .NET Framework 4.0, and we've actually built on top of this. So again, this is another Microsoft technology that we're taking and using very effectively. And just as a bit of a promotion of ourselves here, I do have to say quite clearly, because I'm sure you get this question occasionally, if we're so Microsoft oriented, you know, what does that do in terms of comparing ourselves with Microsoft Dynamics? And I'm very happy and very comfortable in saying to you that we do actually a much better job of incorporating Microsoft's technology into our CRM product than Microsoft Dynamics does. You know, we really are a Microsoft CRM solution, and we do a much better job of that. So it may sound strange, but the proof is there. We've done it. Now, so what does this mean to you? I think this has a lot of really huge benefits for people. The first is it makes it a lot easier to respond to change in your business. It allows you to have a tool that you can define and whiteboard the design process before actually implementing, and effectively implementing as you're designing it. And after having done that, you're documenting it, because you can go and look at that workflow, and if you labeled it appropriately and designed it in terms of multi-levels appropriately, it's a self-documenting process at that point in time. You can use that to educate new people on how your business runs. You don't have to give them a piece of code to read or some rules to read. You can look at the visual workflow and you can see how the business operates. That makes a huge change in terms of educating people. I also think it means that you'll have a lot greater throughput in terms of taking changes that the business wants you to make and driving them in reality in terms of your IT solutions, giving you better tools to more quickly accommodate that. And lastly, because this is not just a tool aimed at somebody who's what I would call a customizer, somebody who's defining your business workflow, it's also a tool that can be used on your production systems. So you can define just ad hoc data manipulation tasks visually. You want to go through all your leads, and I think the example in the previous diagram was not a bad one. You want to go through all your leads and do something with them. In a very similar way, you could say you want to go through all your leads, and maybe all your leads that were from this recent trade show, they were all marked as hot. Well, no, they weren't really. You just want to go in there and change them all back to cold again. I mean, there's lots of ways of doing that, but you could do that visually using this workflow as well on an actual production database. So it's not just a tool for people customizing workflow, it's a tool for you to manage your systems. I will say that this tool and its capabilities are unique in the industry. Nobody else has a solution like this. Some people have some basic workflow capabilities on the end user side for end users to define some basic workflow, but there is nothing like this available from any other products in the market right now. So for us, from a product management perspective, in terms of us going to market and selling to new customers, it is a huge differentiator for us. And I invite you to make sure that you attend the demonstration that Conrad will give at what time, Conrad? 3:45. And take a look at that. And more importantly, I want you to take 609, I want you to install it, I want you to try it out, I want you to provide feedback to us so we can make sure that it is the product you need to meet your needs. All right, second thing, Thin Client. On our next generation product, so again, I'm not talking about our current Saratoga Thin Client, I'm talking about a new Thin Client built on top of our next generation architecture. And what this is intended to be is to give you an alternate access mechanism, I'll say that again, to our current Smart Client. So the Smart Client is an installed client, deep Outlook and SharePoint integration, takes really good advantage of the desktop resources, very effective for somebody who's operating inside of the walls of your organization. However, there are people and times in which you're not within the walls of your organization. And this Thin Client can provide you with an alternate means of access. So from a technology perspective, our Thin Client is intended to be zero footprint. Nothing will be installed, nothing at all. It requires that nothing be there either. Second thing, low bandwidth. Third thing, and probably most importantly, multi-browser support. So if you want to run a Thin Client on your Safari browser or on your iPad and be accessing CRM data and manipulating it, yes, that's something you can do. Now, that all sounds fine, but probably more importantly is the second area here, which is it'll be fully customizable in our existing next generation toolkit. Means it's customizable just like the Smart Client. In fact, it should look a lot like the existing Smart Client. So if you've got an end user who's using the Smart Client today, it should be immediately obvious to them how they would use the Thin Client, because it's going to look a lot like it. And actually, I'll show you a screenshot that illustrates that. Now, the one distinguishing factor will be, and it should be obvious if you've read through the slide there, is that if it's a Thin Client and nothing's installed, that means you're not doing the same level of sophistication of client-side workflow. One of the big parts of Pivotal 6 is that most workflow is defined as C# client tasks. And you're doing a lot of sophistication on the client side. Now, you will be able to do what I would call light client-side work using JavaScript. We'll be translating some of the commands you'll define into JavaScript, so you can do some of it. But for the most part, you're going to have slightly different forms because the workflow is going to be slightly different. So if you want to have the same user using both the Smart Client and the Thin Client for the same purposes, you would have a different form to represent that. And again, that's driven by the technology architecture, not by a choice on our part. I mean, we'd love to say it's the same form, but it just doesn't make sense given that limitation. All right. So if you've seen the Smart Client, or if you're using it today, and you didn't look too quickly or too carefully, this looks like the Smart Client. It's not until you really start looking at it carefully you notice the differences. But this is a Thin Client. I mean, it's got the same navigation construct on the left-hand side. It's got the same concept of a navigation bar on the top, although you'll note that it's slightly different in the sense that it's got drop-down boxes as opposed to a second level, because the controls work more effectively that way. But otherwise, yes, you'll have forms, and you will have search results, and you will have dashboards, and all the things you've come to expect. And pretty well all those things, with the exception of the forms, can be reused. Now, one thing that will be different is that because this is a Thin Client, we are using a completely different set of controls from a completely different technology provider than we would be for our Smart Client. So even though the UIs do look very similar and should have very similar capabilities, there will be subtle differences in behavior with the controls, okay? And those subtle differences will both be positive from your perspective, and some of them I'm sure will be negative. because it'll be something that you like about a smart client control that doesn't work the same way in these thin client controls, and I'm sure there'll be an issue with that. But I just want to make sure you all know, and I want to make it very clear, they will not be exactly the same because they're using different controls. Now, that's a good example. A good example here is that this different control for searches allows us to group things. We get it free with a control. We can't do that in our smart client search control right now. So again, positives and negatives, but you should expect that it'll be slightly different. Now, we view this thin client as having 3 major business scenarios of use, and we're really tackling them in this order in terms of how we're delivering this. So our first objective is to make sure that we've put together all the components from both from a platform perspective and an application, out-of-the-box application perspective, to serve the needs of people that are outside your organizations. So if you're familiar with the current e-service and e-partner applications that are available with our Pivotal 5 product or Pivotal 6 product, this is a replacement for that. So if you're working with partners or you're working with your own partners, you want to provide them access to CRM data either to view it or update it. We're going to provide you with the platform capability to do that, which I just described. That's the thin client. But also a new out-of-the-box application that shows how you would use that for external access. That's step 1. Step 2 is to make some changes to allow you to use that same thin client capability as an alternate access I have a real problem with that word, access mechanism for your internal employees. So that means that not only could they choose to, when they're in the office, use a smart client, maybe they're, at the weekend, you're visiting with your mother-in-law, you forgot you had to do some work, you can go to her computer, you can use it to update and manipulate CRM data. Because it doesn't matter, you're not installing anything, it's going right through a browser, it's a true thin client. And lastly, this is also a very good platform for us to deliver a mobile application. Because it's a browser app, a true thin application. So again, I gave you the example earlier on about using a thin client in a Safari browser on an iPad device. Absolutely you could do this. We do believe we need to make some changes to make the customization of the navigation structure and other elements more suited for small form factors. So you don't want to be having to scroll your window all around to see the complete CRM screen. Now, probably on something like a Safari on an iPad where the screen size is fairly decent, it probably wouldn't even be an issue. But for smaller devices, you're talking about an iPhone or an Android device where you're running a thin client again, you'd want to be able to have something where you can constrain the screen size in some way to suit that form factor. So those are the 3 phases of delivery for those capabilities. Now, the thin client is very important, as you can see already, as part of our mobile strategy. But we're also doing a lot of other new things with our mobile capabilities that you should find very interesting. Today, our mobile capabilities on Pivotal 6 include the ability to run a mobile client, handheld through our partner, formerly called Voltus, now called Antenna. They were acquired. And also through the historical wireless capabilities. But we think there are some new things we can do that can help to serve your needs. The first I talked about, of course, you can run a thin client on things like an iPad. And I just want to make sure you're aware that you can also do things like remote desktop. And this isn't really a change in our part, just making you aware of that. Particularly because I've seen some of our partners and customers trying this out, and it actually works pretty effectively as a remote desktop. Even again on the iPad, that works quite nice. I've seen that. But more importantly, we're investing in native applications. So today, we have the ability to support BlackBerry, Android, and Apple devices through our partner, the top solution called Handheld. It's a very effective solution, but it has a certain cost attached with it. It is a standalone solution in which you bring in data from the CRM database, you determine which parts of the data you want, you design your own forms, you might have a BlackBerry server out there. There's a lot of moving parts and there's a fair bit of customization involved in getting you up and running with a solution right away. Again, very adaptable, can be changed to suit anybody's particular needs, but there is a pretty high cost associated with that, and it is a little bit fragile in the sense there's a lot of moving parts. So there's the potential for it to be difficult to maintain and operate. Potential. Not always the case, but there's the potential for that. So what we want to do is give you some new native applications for those same platforms that would sort of be on the opposite side of the spectrum. They would be super easy to deploy and access, and they would be very intuitive for those particular native applications. And what we brought with us to this conference is a proof of concept of that exact idea on an iPad. So a lot of our sales consulting staff and our product managers have iPads with them in which they have a proof of concept of the new mobile capabilities that would run on these different devices. that would give you those characteristics I'm talking about. So very easy to deploy. So you go to the Apple Store as an end user, you find the Pivotal 6 mobile application, you download it, you install it just like you install any other application. Very simple. You fill in a few configuration parameters to access your real production system, and you're up and running. It's not a 3-month exercise or a 4-month exercise of a design and implementation and testing. It's download, install, configure, and you're up and running in a few minutes. Now the trade-off for that is that we are aiming to have this solution not as customizable as the Vault solution would be. So it would tend towards more out of the box. I mean, most applications you would download from the Apple Store would be fairly out of the box. Now, of course, because most of our customers do fairly heavily customize, we know we'd like to be able to introduce some configurability, I would call it. In other words, identification of which tables you're seeing and which fields, rather than us picking the standard ones. And there's a fair set of standard ones people always have. But that's the intent, but I just want to position it as it's meant to be lightweight. Easy access, quick access, the basic information people want. It's not meant to be a replacement for your workflow on a desktop, all right? Very similar to what you were describing yesterday when we talked yesterday with Tektronix.
Scott, when's that going to be available? Time frame?
This is something we're aiming at doing this year, and sooner than later. So,
by end of year then?
Yeah, yes, that's the intention. That's right, yeah. Now, as part of one of my deliverables from our proof of concept is for not just to show off a proof of concept, but also to have identification of when we believe we can deliver it by. So I don't have a date as of yet, but yes, my intention is as soon as possible. Well, it can be delivered in a number of different ways. If it's something where it's a standard application, and I'm just showing you to, by the way, right now, this is the dashboard screen you would see in this iPad application. Again, I would encourage you to sit down with people and see a demonstration of it. But the answer to your question is, if it's just the out-of-the-box application as it is, yes, you can go to the Apple Store and download it. Now, there is the capability, by the way, if you're not familiar with it, Apple does allow corporations to have their own equivalent corporate stores. So if you, for some reason, had to build a custom version of that, or if we allowed you to do that, or if we even gave you the source code for it and let you manipulate it, which is certainly possible as well, again, we haven't made these decisions yet, then you could certainly hook it up on your own corporate store and download it. At that point in time, you can do anything you want to it because we've given you the software. I'm sorry? Not in that scenario, it wouldn't be, no. No. Yeah. Can I actually, just in the interest of time, because I've got a certain time slot here, and I'd love to take a lot of these questions. Can we take them outside this particular session? Because I mean, literally, there'll be 100 questions just like that one. They're very good questions, and I would like to spend giving a really good answer to. And then some people give me the evil eye from the front row here because I've run into the next time slot. But yes, we've got lots of sessions during this event to answer those questions. And again, I would encourage you, if nothing else, to personally engage with each of the product managers to get the answers to your questions. So for example, I'll get Ehab to stand up. Ehab was introduced earlier. Ehab is responsible for our Thin client product. And Jeff, who's sitting at the back, or standing at the back of the room there, is responsible for our new mobile products. So both those people will be delighted to hear your questions, because for me, the questions are good because either I've got a good answer to it and I feel good about that, or I've never heard that question before and I go, oh, crap, I got to do something about that now. So either way, it's a good thing to ask questions, so we appreciate that. All right, thank you. All right, so this is a dashboard view of the new mobile application. Again, the idea is to have a very similar user, well, not similar, it is the iPad experience in terms of how you use it. So you can certainly imagine using your finger to scroll through activities or alerts or at-risk customers, or scroll to the right so you can see your different dashboards as you're moving from left to right. Tapping on the bottom of the screen here, so clicking on companies at the bottom, bring up a list of the companies that are relevant to me as a salesperson. So all the security, of course, is being obeyed. I'm still obeying all the security model. A list of fields associated with that company. Again, we like to make those configurable. And also a list of tables that are associated with that company. In this case, we're showing you contacts and opportunities, because those are the two tables we're also going to show you on this particular demonstration. Again, the navigation is just exactly what you would expect for this type of mobile device. We've got some neat little things like flagging, red and yellow customers, flagging the customers that are important to you at that point in time as a salesperson. So you want to star that customer, and you only want to see the ones that are starred. You can click on the star at the top of the companies. It would shrink your list down just the ones you're working with that week. So a lot of ability to get access to the information you want very quickly. The other thing you'll note with having these sort of native applications is the integration to the rest of the capabilities. You're talking about being able to do email, go to websites, bring up maps, navigate on those maps, play with them. Those are all active. We can drill into contacts from there. Again, conceptually very similar. The only difference really is rather than having the mapping capability on the right-hand side here, we have the LinkedIn profile and the Facebook profile linked into that. LinkedIn, of course. Similar concept for opportunities, same navigation structure. And also, if we again go to the right, a charting capability to expose a variety of different charts. Some of those charts were already on the dashboards. And finally, a history. So a history of the particular records that you've most recently touched on. Just so if you want to quickly get to the one that you're working on, yesterday morning, want to get back to the same record really quickly, very nice and easy to do that. Now again, this is a proof of concept. This isn't meant to be the full capabilities or any limitation on that. That's why it's important for us to use this opportunity to sit down with you, show it off, get some feedback. Now, the way we're doing this is that we're also evaluating a technology from a development perspective. It's not a third-party technology like Voltus where you're taking advantage of your configuration. We've got a tool set that allows us to write these applications in JavaScript and then have that translated into the native platforms. And what that promises to do is allow us to write this application effectively once, but use it on multiple different devices, so different versions of iPhones or iPads, but also Android devices and BlackBerry devices. Now, we're evaluating that as part of our proof of concept, what the pros and cons are of that. My biggest concern would be that when you're using a layer of abstraction, there's an opportunity to lose some of the sophistication and differences that are on different devices. But this tool does promise to allow us to call out and do things that are unique to each device. So in theory, we should be able to produce an application once that has some sort of if-then-else type stuff in it that would run on different devices. So it's not even though I've just shown you an iPad, it's meant to be multi-device. All right? I'm pretty excited about this because I think it gives people really quick and easy access to CRM information. All right, let's talk about next year. Again, I want you to be excited about what we're doing this year in terms of platform stuff like Visual Workflow and Thin Client, our mobile applications. But I also want to give you a taste for what's going to happen next year. Now, as you might imagine, just by the naming of it, Pivot in the Cloud, what we want to do is give you a choice, and choice is the key word here, of how you choose to consume CRM. Whether you want to be installing that on-premise and operating that yourself, or having us providing that to you as a service of some sort. All right? Now, I think we've had some false starts in this area in the past, but no, this is a serious commitment with serious resources behind it to deliver what I would call a true hybrid CRM solution without any compromises. And the reason why I focus on those two words are that a true hybrid solution means that it's the exact same solution no matter whether you're deploying it on-premise or on-demand. Now, every vendor today that does offer you a choice is not offering you the exact same piece of software. There are changes, limitations, compromises that are made in order to deliver it either on-premise or on-demand. And usually the compromises are on the on-demand solution. We want to change that. We want to make whether or not you are deploying your software on-premise or on-demand irrelevant to the business decision, as it should be. It's a technology decision, for God's sake. It's nothing to do with your business or how you run your business. In reality, it's a technology choice you should make from an IT perspective in terms of how you implement your technology. It shouldn't affect the way the business operates. And it shouldn't change or constrain the way they operate. So how do we intend to be different? Well, I've already told you a little bit about that. First is choice. You can have your solution on-premise, on-demand, or both. So maybe you're a large multinational organization and you have IT staff in North America that are perfectly capable of looking after your solution, but you don't have the same thing in Australia or Malaysia or the Czech Republic or South Africa. And you'd like to have the capability for somebody else to help you host that, manage that for you, but have it still be the same system, same capabilities. So this is our intention. So choice of deployment model, choice of UI. We already talked about the thin client as a complement to smart client, so we want to be able to offer you a choice of how you access the solution. We want to have a choice of how you pay for it as well. And also a choice of how you get to new releases. One of the constraints you typically live with when you go with an on-demand solution is that you get the new version of the software when the vendor's ready to give it to you. And you get it exactly that day. And if you don't like it, too bad. We want to be able to give you the choice of whether you move forward to a new version or not. And this has something to do with the way we're approaching this architecturally, and I won't drill down into the details of that, but it's something, again, unique to the way we're approaching this. What I'm looking really to achieve is I don't want your choice of your deployment model to affect what is at the root of why people value our solutions today, which is the flexibility and usability of our product. I don't want there to be compromises on that. I want you to still have the most flexible and the most usable product in the market, no matter what your choice is from an IT perspective. And as an upside for you, this is something new, we want to invest in making that flexibility, that power to change the solution to keep current with your business practice, much easier for you to make use of. And this is something that's going to be really valuable even if you don't choose to go on demand. Even if you continue to operate on-premise, the things that we're doing in this area will be tremendously valuable for you. So looking at that from a slightly different way, in terms of what we're actually delivering, there are certain things we need to do to support that hybrid model. And these are mostly architectural changes. Okay? We're talking about bringing in a thin client to give people choice of how they access it. We have to make some authentication changes. We're going to be bringing out a new version of our server. So our server today for Pivotal 6 is a 32-bit application. It can run on a 64-bit operating system, but it's a 32-bit application. We will move, as part of this, to a pure 64-bit server. And that has ramifications from a performance perspective and memory usage perspective and those sort of things. And again, those are going to be wonderful advancements for customers who really don't care about cloud, because you're still getting that as well. Because again, it's the same product. It's not going to be a different product. It is the same product that everybody will be using. So everything we do here is valuable to all of our customers, even if you couldn't care about cloud. All right? Same thing's true of our toolkit and our current administration capabilities. We must change the architecture of those to be better suited for the cloud. But while we're doing that, we're also going to make a whole bunch of other changes. So we are bringing out a new toolkit and new administration capabilities. And that's where that low-cost flexibility comes in. Our intention is to make it easier to install, to administer, to update, to customize, and to deploy our solutions. Make it faster and easier. Now, we have a driving factor for that, of course, because we're in the cloud. There's sort of an expectation that things will be fast and easy, particularly if we're managing it. It's going to be something we want to have. But also, it's a tremendous benefit to our customers in terms of making those changes. And these are the types of things I'm talking about. Having a single client, the smart client, that would be your starting point, whether you're using the application, administering it, or customizing it. And we might launch into other things from there, like a Visual Studio Form Designer, but that's going to be your starting point for customization. Security control in your customization environment to allow different people to work on different parts of the application. Configuration management of all the metadata, so you can group changes, you can transfer them from one system to another, you can more easily bring in applications and modules into your existing system or remove them from your system, trade them with other people. And the complete labeling of that, the ability to have some wizards and defaults and automation of those capabilities, and also some additional changes in our deployment flexibility. Now, I'm just giving you a heads up on these things, not because I want to drill down in detail, because this is next year. I mean, these are things we're delivering in 2012 and 2013, but I want to make you aware that we're doing these things, and we're making major investments in our products to make these things possible. So it goes right back to one of my earlier points. We are making increasing and major investments in our products to make them continually relevant to our customers. And I want you to know not just what we're doing this year, but also next year, because it just indicates that you can trust us as a partner in the long term, and that we'll be an effective partner for you in implementing your business practices. So we'll have an opportunity to engage much more deeply with you, and specifically what should our new toolkit look like, what our new administration capabilities should look like, to better support all of our customers, again, whatever background they come from and whether they choose to be on-premise or on-demand. We want to make sure we're delivering something that makes sense for that. Now, it happens to be that we've collected a lot of requirements for this already through past research, but we're reaching out to you again to validate that before we move forward. During this conference, you come to me. Yeah, this is a multi sort of product area thing. So talking to one product manager won't necessarily get you the answer, because You know, Leo's working on the server stuff, and Dean's working on toolkit stuff, and Chris is working on the client side. But right now, I'm pulling it all together. So yeah, if you have some feedback, I'm happy to hear it. Sure. Okay. We can talk about that, Julie? Yeah. So I guess there's a demand for an extension of this session where it would be Q&A based. And I think we've done that in past conferences as well. That would be a valuable addition. I'm sure we can accommodate that. All right. We can yeah. Yeah. Yeah, actually, what we'll do is we will run a separate session, and we will make sure we capture all those questions and include that as part of the deliverables for the event, so you have a record of that. We typically try to do that anyways as part of what we call FAQs when we're introducing something new. And I have to apologize. I mean, this is meant to be more of a meant to be more of a keynote as opposed to, you know, back and forth just because of the time constraints. And I want you to be aware of everything we're doing, but I'm also aware that we're talking about a lot of stuff here. And it does bring up a lot of questions and interesting questions and good questions. So I definitely think we need to have that follow-on session. That's a very good suggestion. Thank you. All right. I talked a lot about what we're doing with our platform capabilities, but we're also making very significant investments in the out-of-the-box applications that come with our products. So we provide a platform, and again, this is true whether we're using Pivotal 5, Saratoga, or Pivotal 6 today. It's a platform. It is an engine for creation of enterprise applications. Now, that's all great, but it's sure nice to have a starting point for implementations. So when you look at what we came out with Pivotal 6 initially, in addition to our financial services application, there's something we call the CMS. The CMS is just this monolithic application that has sales and service capabilities that's meant to help our customers implement that type of functionality. There's their starting point. The downside of that monolithic approach, even though it's got everything there, is that if you don't want certain pieces, you have to chop them out. And that chopping out actually takes work. And then subsequently, you want to put them back in again, also more work. So we made a decision that made much more sense to break up that capability into pieces and layers. And what you're seeing on this diagram is effectively those three layers. So immediately to the right, you see this concept we call base applications. These are fundamental capabilities that are not even necessarily CRM specific. Contact management can be used for a lot of purposes, data quality management, document management, application workflow. These are foundation capabilities that would be the basis for any implementation of any enterprise application functionality. And in fact, if you were using our products today, not for Salesforce automation, but for something else crazy, the example I like to give is just that we have a customer in New Zealand who tracks hazardous waste. They're a utility company. And that's what they use our solution for. And there's not a lot of companies and opportunities in there. It's hazardous waste management. Well, if they're doing an implementation, they would just take those base applications and use those, because they have no need for Salesforce automation or customer service or marketing, because they're not doing that. But we also want those to be available as a set of modules built on top of that. And even further, another set of modules on top of that that might be multi-purpose. So like social CRM is related to both SFA and customer service and support, because it can be used for both purposes. But it's something you may or may not deploy in your operation. In other words, I don't think it's considered to be core part of SFA. Now let me just show you another way of describing that. But this is sort of turn the diagram on its side, just to give you probably the better conceptual view, which is contact management on the bottom, complemented by some optional capabilities, so you don't need to take those with it if you don't want. And then there's this concept of the SFA on top of that, for example, and then the optional models on top of that. Just want to make sure you focus on the bottom part first. So what we delivered already is a new contact management application, which is the root application of everything we provide from an application perspective. Everybody will take advantage of this. This is your starting point. Everything else is a module installed on top of that. All right? This is brand new, something that's newly available. We have a brand new data management module that we've built in the last couple of years for data quality management. You can get data quality management tools anywhere. The advantage of this one is it's integrated with your existing solution. So when you're manipulating the data, you're not running a separate tool with a separate UI and a separate database. Similarly, we have a out-of-the-box integration for document management for SharePoint. So let me just go back to that diagram again. And we use these diagrams, set aside the nice pictures I showed you from a marketing perspective. We use these diagrams to try and communicate clearly what capabilities we believe falls within each of these categories. I used to spend a lot of time working with SAP in a previous existence, and they had this thing called solution maps, which I quite liked. This is a solution map for us, which is a statement of the capabilities that fall within that particular domain area, that particular functional area, and the way we view them. And the nice thing is that you can drill down. So I'm not going to go through this with you, but I wanted to illustrate to you that the things that are in black on there are capabilities that we used to have in our CMS. And we may have reorganized them, but they used to be part of the old CMS. The things in green are things we built new when we built this new module or application. So that way it's just a good way of communicating to you as well what is different about this compared to the applications you may have been using previously. It's also very good for us communicating with analysts in terms of what our intentions are. So not just what we have built, but also what we intend to build. Things in blue, which are not on this diagram, are things that we're re-architecting, and things in red are things that don't exist today, but we believe should be part of our out-of-the-box applications. So if I take it back to the SFA layer, again, we've got a brand new module we've delivered for that has these types of capabilities. It's installed on top of the contact management application. EHAB is going to be demonstrating that at what time, EHAB? Tomorrow at 9 a.m., EHAB will demonstrate the capabilities I'm talking to you about right now, so I'm not going to drill down in detail on it. But again, we want to have that solution map view of things. We have a very specific idea of what capabilities fall within the domain of Salesforce automation. And again, we can drill down from there and tell you what was in the old application, what's new, and the red things being things we still intend to build for the first layer of it and also the second row of it. And so you can quite clearly see, yes, there are statements here in terms of things like sales performance management and compensation management and configuration where we either intend to change or augment our capabilities in those areas. All right, just so you're aware of what our intentions are. If it's something of interest to you, then you can have a discussion with us about those things and how you might take advantage of them. Similarly, and something that will launch in a few weeks, EHAB, a few weeks, is our new customer service and support module built on top of that contact management application. So when we've done that, we've completely replaced the CMS. Because we've got both the sales and service functionality in there. Customer service activities, and again, drilling down into the details of that. All right. And finally, a set of add-on modules that we hope you will find are useful in certain circumstances for you. A good example of that is the social CRM module, something for social media integration. Try and make the social media data relevant in a CRM context. And the biggest thing this thing really does is it pulls in all that garbage that's out there, sorts through it, finds the bits that are relevant, and then brings it into your CRM workflow, either to drive sales activities or drive customer service activities. And again, this is something where, if you'd like to get a demonstration of it, and I like to say, by the way, all of these modules I'm talking about, all fully documented, demos recorded, all available for download from our customer portal. So if you would like to drill down any one of these things on your own leisure, you're certainly welcome to do that. Or obviously, anytime you'd like, we can arrange to give you a personalized demonstration of those to make sure that they're delivered in the context of relevance to your particular organization. We have a great sales consulting staff that does a very effective job of doing those sorts of demonstrations and really good at making it relevant to your organization. So I would definitely encourage that if there's things you've seen here that are of interest to you. All right. The last thing I wanted to talk about was our vision for marketing automation. So it's sort of the third leg of the traditional CRM stool. We talked about sales and service. Our vision for marketing automation is fairly simple, I hope. We have today an existing product called Market First. Market First is a very sophisticated marketing automation solution. I would say it's probably best suited for fairly large organizations involved in B2C activities. It's also a different technology stack than our existing product, so it requires integration. So because it's got a different UI and it's got a different database and it's a little more sophisticated than probably some of our customers actually need, what we've identified is an opportunity to take our existing Pivotal 6 platform and build on top of it a set of out-of-the-box marketing modules that would effectively replace the Market First product. So you wouldn't have a separate product. You have a set of modules that are installed on the same platform. It's the same database. It's the same UI. It's the same user experience. And we think that will be much more valuable to our customers. That activity is not just a future activity. It has been in progress for some time. We've already delivered some of those capabilities. We've delivered email marketing. We delivered marketing resource management. We're in the process of delivering a landing page capability. And we've got two more modules that we've identified. The lead management module, which is not lead management from a sales perspective. We're talking about marketing lead management, something different. I mean, there's lead management as part of the sales SFA application as well. and also a campaign and design and execution engine, which not surprisingly will be built using our visual workflow tool, because a campaign design engine is usually best if it's defined visually. So again, a great tool for email marketing, a great tool for marketing resource management, an upcoming tool for landing page design. So when you send out an email, you want to bring people back to a particular location and manage their interaction with your company, the landing pages will help with that. And then lastly, of course, we're going to take the campaign design capabilities and build them into a marketing module as well. Now, it's probably a good opportunity for me to say a little bit about Market First. This does not mean that we intend to do anything in the short term with the Market First product. We intend to continue to enhance it, support it, make it compatible with other third-party products, because there's certainly a demand for that and customers using that. So that's not going to get pulled away from you. We're going to build these modules as a separate activity and make them available. You know, if at some point in time in the future, every one of our Market First customers would move to the next gen with a new marketing modules, well, great, we'll look at that point in time. But we intend to support that product into the future as well. All right. Thank you for staying with me through a slightly extended session. I hope that this will give you some flavor again for what's coming up during the next year, and also why you should continue to be excited about working with our products into the future. I'll definitely look forward to having the opportunity to engage with you during this conference. We'll arrange for a separate session to get back together and have a Q&A type activity to answer all the questions on this. We can bring back up the slides and go through them however you like. Make sure you get your personal answers to questions. Other people can hear those answers. So thanks again for your time, and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.
Thanks again, Scott. And I know that he'd mentioned it earlier, but he really does like talking to customers individually. Every time I ask him to be in a meeting with some of my customers, he gets as much out of it as the customers do. So I really appreciate his time. And really, you know, hit the people that he was talking about: Ehab Sammy, Jeff Wood, everyone that are out the stars that Jason had marked out before. You know, Ehab, you can talk to him about the thin client. We're doing the iPad demonstrations there. I really want everyone here to get as much out of Galaxy as possible. This is for you and about you. So with that in mind, we are going to be taking a little bit of break here. It's going to be in the Nolita room. We're going to have refreshments, and we also have the all of the conference tables out there, so you can see the demos, you can see what our partners have been doing. So, and then after that, we will be going into the breakout sessions. And remember, if none of you fill out those session evaluation forms, we can't give away the iPad 2, so I will, by default, get both of those. So please do not fill out those session evaluation forms. All right, thank you very much.